Hello, so this time we're going to be looking at a very simple home studio for small object photogrammetry. There are three key components to this. One is the fixed camera, two, the fixed lighting, and three, the turntable. Now, the whole point of this setup is to make sure that the object stays basically in the same place, basically the same distance from the camera, and with the same lighting throughout. And the reason that's helpful is that it makes post-processing so much easier, it makes the setup so much easier, and it ensures consistency between all of your shots. So how do these systems help? First of all, the camera. Now the fixed camera keeps your distance exactly right. That means that you can set up your camera in manual mode, you can make sure that you've got the right focus, you've got the right depth of field, and you've got the right exposure set for all of the shots. No mucking around changing any of that halfway through your shooting. So you can just turn it, click it, turn it, click it. The lights help with that exposure as well. They make sure that the light is constant in that area and you're not getting any strange dark patches or anything like that. Now, you will notice throughout this that there are some issues with the lighting in this. It's far from a perfect system that I've got, but let's call it budgetary constraints. What I'd ideally have is something with some control over the temperature of the light at the very least, but ideally the color, because if you're using this for serious work later on, then you might want to maintain even neutral lighting throughout every crevice from every angle on that object, which means that you can then alter the gamma, alter the color, alter whatever in post-processing in your rendering package, and then put the lighting on to have its own shadows as part of that scene and make it feel much more part of that. So the capture phase of this project was much simpler, much quicker, much easier than the previous version. There's a couple of minutes of setting up. All we're doing there is just making sure that our focus is dead right on the object, making sure that the depth of field covers the whole object. So try and avoid using super fast apertures like 1.8. I did actually try it a little bit. I thought it'd be cool, but it turns out that will literally, in a model this big, you're focusing only on a little bit this size. What you want to make sure is your depth of field is bigger than the object itself. That way you're sharp at the front, sharp at the back, sharp everywhere in between. Because the key thing in photogrammetry is making sure that you have super sharp focus on every part of the object that you've got. There's literally no point in a blurred photograph being part of the issue, being part of the algorithm's input. So that's the first thing, is just ensuring you've got that camera set up. Use manual focus, don't bother with autofocus, get the focus set up, and then trust that the turntable is going to put things in the same place at the same time. Next on to turntables. Make sure the object is actually centered. It's really hard to do, frankly, unless you've got some kind of guide, which I don't on my IKEA stool. But as it is, just rotate it a few times, move it if it looks off, rotate a few more, move it if it looks off, and ultimately eyeball it to make sure that you're basically central. Essentially all you're looking for is to make sure that when it rotates, it's not rotating off axis. You want it to be rotating on the axis itself. That keeps the shots nice and tight, keeps it equidistant from the camera in every shot, and keeps it under the same lighting conditions in every shot. Now, you can achieve the same thing probably with a different kind of lens. So one of the justifications for doing this is to make sure that in post-processing, when I'm cropping down the image, I'm cropping it down to there in every shot instead of funneling the object all over the shot and having to manually do like I had to with the previous shot. Here, I could just tighten in on where the object was, make sure that in none of the other pictures the object didn't extend out, and then keep that, and then just copy and paste that crop to every image, at least in that rotation, if not the whole series of shots. Now, as I say, probably a better way of doing that, if you're happy with the data sizes, is to use a tighter lens. So I'm using a 20mm, basically because it's a new lens and I wanted to play with it. but I used the 50 in the last one. That might have been a more appropriate lens to use, because that ensures that in your scene like this, the object is just larger. And so you're using all of those megapixels for detail on the object, instead of having it much tighter in and then cropping down to that size, which just wastes all the megapixels around the edge. But no great shakes in this case. We got the data that we wanted. It looks good. Happy with that. Post-processing itself is easy as ever. First of all, we're just automatically masking the images. Then we're hitting the align just to make sure that we've got, the actual right shape coming out. You never know. It might have crazy object structures all over the place. But this time, look just right. And then just hitting go and let it do its thing. So looking at the actual output from the model, we can see in the dense point cloud, when it's colorized, that it's actually pretty much indistinguishable from the finished texture model in itself, which is pretty amazing. What that's essentially saying is that each one of those points on the cloud is something which has been positively identified, aligned and mashed up together by the software, seen in multiple images, and is firmly in place. Now, the denser that is, the better model you've got, essentially. And the fact that we're drawing away a short distance away and actually being able to see that as one solid block just means that we've got great density. So if we compare that to the old model, see them side by side here, then yeah, you can see we've got something pretty special going on with this new setup. Now, is it perfect? Probably not. Is there such a thing as perfect? Probably not. I'm sure we can improve that, but it's a really interesting metric to look at. And here's the final model itself. I'd say it's looking great. The only issues that I can see are where we haven't taken photos underneath, so that's where there's still a little bit of a grey area or a blobby area. But apart from that, spot on. So that concludes our second video in the photogrammetry of mainly apparently Warhammer models. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed making these, and hopefully I'll be able to bring you more and more of this content, preferably increasing in quality with every shot. Well, we'll see about that. Yeah, it's been great fun. Thanks again, guys. Like and subscribe, and do please leave a comment if there's anything in particular you want me to go over, any way you want me to improve my presentation style, anything like that. Stick it in the comments. All of that stuff is just food for the algorithm, and that would be fantastic. Thanks guys, see you next time.